Yo, what is going on, everybody? Hope everybody is doing super good out there. Well, listen, man, I thank you for stopping by this video. This is going to be a powerful one. I have a very close friend as well as a Amazon best-selling author, entrepreneur, filmmaker, and along with that, a revivalist. I'll give you more of an introduction on who he is, but I just wanted to kind of open up this video. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a video that I believe is going to inspire you in your creative endeavors. And man, I am just so excited to have that. So without further delay, let's go ahead and bring on my very special guest, Joe Poni. Man, thank you for stopping by the Kingdom Creative Channel and welcome, my man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. I just want to say, Jesse, you've been killing it, man. So it's such an honor and such a pleasure to jump on this live with you.
Absolutely, brother. And that means a lot coming from you, bro. You are definitely somebody, man, who inspires me in the things that I do, just with not only on the entrepreneurial side, but also to the kingdom side. And I think that, that's rare. Sometimes you find a guy or whatever that's kind of like really goes hard in this area, you know what I mean? But it's rare that you find one that goes hard in both of those areas. And so that is definitely you, my man. And I appreciate
Thank
you
you, my
for
brother.
making the time, bro. So let me go ahead and give everybody who's listening a just a little bit of a background, a little bit of a bio on our special guest today. And once again, Joe Poni is our special guest, and he is a best-selling author. And you'll probably hear me say that multiple times. I know he doesn't like it, but listen, that's a huge achievement. That is something. That is something. At the end of it, that is all definitely all glory to God. Like God gave him a message and a product that he released into the world, and the world is responding to it. So he is a best-selling author. He is a brand consultant and a marketplace revivalist. And we'll get into exactly what he means by that in a little bit. He's also the founder and owner of Experior Media, a video production company in Silicon Valley. And since becoming a best-selling author, Joe dedicates time to helping people write and publish their own books. Okay, so when he's not filming or coaching, Joe also serves as a volunteer to several high schools in the Bay Area, teaching career discovery and hosting dream development workshops. And Joe currently lives in Tracy, California, with his beautiful wife, Tanisha, and their beautiful son, Benjamin. So once again, did I leave out anything about you or any?
No, no, no. Hey, you did a good job, man. But sheesh. Um, Thanks a lot, man.
That's
Thanks
absolutely,
for
bro.
the intro.
Absolutely. And in your own, in your own words, what do you want people, who are you, what do you do, and what do you want people to know about you?
Well, I'm an encourager by nature, and a helper. So if ever I find myself in any situation, I always find a way to encourage or to help,
Mm.
bring solutions in any way possible. And that's that type of person that I am. And I'm a family man. I'm a dad. I'm a businessman. And yeah, just I love life, man. And I'm glad to help as many people as possible.
Absolutely. Now, tell me what you mean, because that's actually a term I grabbed from you, the term marketplace revivalist. So can you unpack what that actually is and what you mean by that?
Yeah, yeah. So I think that everywhere we go, we are called to bring the light. We're called to bring solutions. We're called to bring innovation. And what I've noticed is that the marketplace, the economy, is starving for people with ideas.
Mm,
And a revivalist is somebody that comes and I think in the kingdom or in the church world, we understand a revivalist is somebody to pray for people and to, everywhere they go, they may even lay hands on folks and folks falling out in the spirit,
yep.
stuff of that sort. But I believe it encompasses such a bigger definition, and I believe that revivalists are people that come and revive. They bring to life, they cause growth, um, they cause surplus, and they bring ideas and innovation everywhere they go. And that is something that I've been called to do. I've been called to the marketplace, and I've been called to help people, help revive that particular industry.
Absolutely. No, that's a great way to put it. And I like how you kind of, that term revivalist can seem very, super kind of religious and super like, oh, you got to be a special person to kind of be a revivalist, right? But kind of the way that you broke it down was like, man, like in actuality, we're all kind of revivalists. Those of us that are entering the marketplace that are carrying our principles, our beliefs, our values with us, the things that
Right.
we learned and the teachings that we have from the Lord, like we're actually a bit of a revivalist ourselves.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, when I first stepped into the marketplace, when I first stepped into business, I was taken by surprise. Uh, it's a dog eat dog world out there, and I have a quite a little bit of a different personality than somebody that steps on other people to get what they want. For me, I love to help as many people as possible. I love to, give trust, and I was taken by surprise when I first stepped into business. Um, yeah, it's cutthroat, and so I've been blessed to be able to um, continue to bring value, continue to bring honor, and continue to show um, just love, in an industry like business. And yeah, I think that comes along with the term revivalist as well too. We're not swayed by everybody else, but um, we're continually who we are in any
Mhm.
atmosphere.
Absolutely. No, that's really great. I think you said that very well. I want to grab, I mean, for those of you that are tapping into this live, listen, I promise you, we're going to get into this book. It's going to be amazing. I just want to grab a couple of little detours while we're here. And I just want to grab some more information really quickly. So can you tell us a little bit about Experior Media, what you do, what kind of clients you serve, and just a brief, sentence or two on how you got started into that?
Yeah, well, Experior Media is a video marketing company that I started back in 2015. And I've always had a knack for video. I've always done video. And ever since I was a kid, my brother bringing home a Sony camcorder, and we did little movies, my brother and I, as a kid. But as an adult, um, I was in a transition between losing a job and finding a job that I did not like. I was in a grind. And this is something that also has been something that I wrote in my book. But during the time, I noticed that the economy was changing, and I was working in construction, and I knew I wasn't where I ought to be.
Mhm.
And it was something that I seen on the internet that really sparked my interest, and that was a statistic, and that statistic in 2015 said that internet traffic will be predominantly video
Yep.
within the next year or two, right?
Yep.
And so something clicked. It was like a light bulb. And I seen where the economy was going. I seen where the marketplace was going. And I wanted to jump in before it got too saturated. And so that's what I did. I started a company during, at that time I was jobless, and my wife was pregnant, and I invested my savings into my business, and it took off. It like literally blew up the first year, and I've been able, at that time I was able to double my income year after
Wow.
year just because of the demand
Yeah.
for video. And so it's a video company that I have and that I've been blessed to run. And I got a team. We're small and nimble, but we can grow and be as big as we need to be. And yeah, we love to help people and do what we do best, tell stories.
No, that's amazing. And that's actually like I have this belief, and maybe you would kind of agree with that. I seen that similar stat as well, but I really do believe that we are entering into what I would call the creative age. And here's kind of what I mean by that's my own little philosophy, but I believe this that as things get more automated, right? As things get more automated, just like the industrial age and basically how, factory workers, you know what I mean, basically were able to mass produce. What began to happen is there began to be a need for the individual creative, because they were able to now provide a skill set that you couldn't mass produce. And so what I think is going to happen as we, grow in technology and grow in AI, it's going to only make the creative more valuable, because they're going to be the differentiator between the mass production and, hey, I need a guy who can think creatively and deliver a creative solution. And so that's kind of what Kingdom Creative is all about, is really helping to empower and equip and encourage the creative entrepreneurs to take hold of the season and the time that we're living in. So
No, that's
great.
good. That's really good. Yeah,
I love
because I
it.
think that even right now, I think creativity is a dire need for those that freelance. It's a dire need for those that want to stand out from the rest, especially in our particular industry. You know this. There's everybody has a camera nowadays,
Yeah.
so you have to be able to separate yourself from everyone else with quality work,
Yep.
and also storytelling. So. I definitely believe that creativity is the key factor, key trait in what can help you stand out, especially in the age that we're living in.
100%, 100%. Very good. Okay. And then just tell us a little bit about what you do. I know you're in the schools all the time, teaching, doing workshops and stuff. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in the schools.
Yeah, so I graduated, or actually, no, I take that back. I was expelled twice from high school,
Okay.
and yeah, I went from having D's and F's to not really taking school seriously to graduating with 7 scholarships,
Wow.
graduating with like a 3.5 GPA. And yeah, I really found um, I really found an audience with kids that struggle in high school, that have a difficult time during their time in high school, whether it be from bullying, whether it be from
Mm.
fights, whether it be from the lack of interest. And that caused me to become a public speaker, an inspirational speaker within high schools in the Bay Area and within my local community, Tracy, California.
Hmm.
And it's been something that I've been doing since I've graduated. I've been able to have workshops, dream development workshops, um, and entrepreneurial workshops, and also how to help kids understand what they're feeling, and kind
Mm.
of file through their emotions and really be able to identify with overcoming thoughts of themselves and help them prepare their next best step to succeed after high school. So that's been something that has been a passion of mine. In 2017, we started a scholarship
Mm.
um, program, and so kids were able to apply and receive scholarships. And it's just helping um, the community and giving back to the community that I serve.
Man, that's dope. Now, let me ask you this, because for, a lot of us, we're kind of, we got our heads down in our businesses, and, we're kind of out of touch a little bit with that generation. But I think for most of us, we know that it's an important generation. We know that we have something to offer, kind of like the just instructions, the things we never got, the coaching, the encouragement. What would you say from that generation, the high schoolers right now? Like, what are some of the things that they're needing from maybe, say, somebody, like us in our age bracket?
Well, I think community is most important. If they can get around successful people, they themselves they will find themselves being successful.
Mm.
I think it's Jim Rome that said you're the average of the 5 people you spend time with. And so if you spend time with, if you're the average of 5 friends that you spend time with, or something of that sort. I'll look up the quote after
Yeah,
this
yeah.
session. But I believe that if you hang around, people that have nothing, or do nothing, or are lazy, you're going to find yourself becoming that as well too. But if you
Mhm.
hang around just yourself with like successful people, people that are disciplined, people that um, are smart, you'll find yourself being, you'll find those traits manifest in your life as well too. So I definitely will encourage this generation to get around people that inspire you, get around people that encourage you to be better,
Mhm.
and you can't go wrong with finding a tribe.
No, absolutely. That's great advice. That's great advice. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this book, okay? And
Hmm.
this is going to be this is a good one. I read the book and got so much out of it. And first and foremost, just as just as a fellow creative and kingdom entrepreneur, man, just want to thank you for writing a book like this because tons and
Oh,
tons of valuable stuff in there. Really is. Now, let me ask you this one question.
okay.
Why did you write the book?
Well, I wrote the book because during the pandemic, I seen so many people lose their job. I
Mm,
seen so many people, um, have anxiety, stressed out, living in fear. And for me, I think there's two types of people. There's those that, when they see a big wave, they either run, away from the shore, or
mm,
there's the others that grab their surfboard and,
okay.
head towards the shore. I think there's a word in Japanese, I believe, that the same word for crisis is opportunity. And
Oh,
so I just really seen an opportunity for people if they could shake off that fear, if they could shake off that worry, anxiety. I believe it was a time to reset, refocus, and reimagine possibilities. And so, really, during the pandemic, our particular industry, I looked around and there was a lot of people that had no jobs, freelancers that were stuck. But in our particular business, it was booming. It was going crazy, and I wanted to teach people how to read the market. I wanted to teach people how to really refocus and discover what they are truly made to do. And I know that is a broad type of explanation, but um, that was something that really pushed me to write this book. It as an entrepreneur, as a family man, as somebody that has many different commitments and responsibilities,
mm,
it's hard to find time to do certain things. But I had to
yeah.
literally make the time to write this book because so many people needed it.
That's good. That's really good. Wow. A lot of times, man, like that's really like a definition of serving, what it means to serve. It's like there's a ton of other things that are good, reasonable, not excuses, but reasons why maybe you can't or you don't got the time for it. But, really the definition of serving is really just fighting for whatever it is that you need to bring to another person, and not allowing those types of things to get in the way, and just learning how to manage better, right? I dropped a
Mhm.
video today talking about the difference between, like, people tell you to slow down, and really, a lot of times what we need to hear is you need to learn to manage better, like
Definitely.
steward your priorities better, and then you can get more done and so on. But
Right. Yeah, because I think what's interesting is we're seeing a economic shift take
mm,
place, and
mm,
we're seeing after the age of what was it, the internet, the technology boom, big tech came in on the scene, 2006, 7, 8, 9, and we started seeing rapid change fast, like,
yeah,
where change took place over a course of years. We're seeing change take place, in the course of months, weeks,
right,
even days. And so, noticing that the economy was changing um, really uh, helped me really position myself to succeed. And
mm,
I believe that people have to have a competitive advantage in the day that we are living in, by understanding the skills they possess, and as well as monetizing the skills they possess, how they can provide value to the
mm,
company that they work at or through the business that they run, and I see it happening all over the place. I mean, just the other day I went to, Safeway, and there was like only one clerk, and there's nothing but self-checkout lines, right? And like they just incorporated more self-checkout lines within the last month. And so it dawned on me, I was like, wow, this, a store clerk is going to be obsolete pretty soon,
Wow.
Um, even at Home Depot, I was at Home Depot the other day, and there's like only self-checkout lines. And I just thought to myself, like, wow, the market is changing in this area, and so it's being able to identify where the market is changing and then positioning yourself to take advantage of it is going to be, key to survival within the age of technology.
Mm-hmm. Dope.
Because
Dope.
I believe you could take advantage of it. I believe that you could position yourself, really discern the times that we're living in,
Mm-hmm.
and identify the skills that you have and position
Mm-hmm.
yourself in a
That's good.
way that can grow income and make yourself valuable in the economy or in the marketplace.
Yep, absolutely 100%. And I think that one of the best ways that you can make yourself valuable is actually by picking up a copy of this book right here. Okay. This book right here is going to help you do exactly what he just said. And so let's go ahead and transition into this a little bit. I noticed that
Okay.
you basically broke this book down into three different parts.
I did. Yeah.
And so we have explore and discover, cultivate
Yes.
and execute, and sustain and flourish. And those are the three major parts of the book. And, if I got to pick a favorite part of the book, I would say it was part number 2, cultivate and execute. And
Got it.
I think one of the reasons why it was so one of my favorites is because that's the one that not a lot of people are really talking about. Like, it's really, the getting started aspect is super dope, super exciting, face your fears, unlock your creativity, all this kind of stuff. Right. But, and then the sustain and flourish, like having something to manage, is exciting. But this idea of cultivating is, to me, a very energetic and charged up word, but to a lot of
I
people, a
like that.
very boring and like cultivate, like, you mean I got to go out there and water every day and it, but that is definitely one of my favorites. Now, I noticed something about this book that I wanted to ask you about really quickly.
Okay.
Is in the end of these chapters here, you have little strategy sessions that you put in there and little ways to implement after
I
every
get
chapter.
hyped up, bro. I don't mean to be like over
No, go
exaggerating, but
crazy,
you just
bro.
talking about it hypes me up, man. I
Well,
was just
I mean,
like,
well, here's what I feel like it did is it really pulled me into trying to apply everything I just read on a moment by moment basis and really
right,
just increased my level of engagement. Like, why did you do that? Talk
right.
about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think the most important part of impartation is application, right?
Mm,
So it's one thing to get an impartation in what you read or what you listen to or um, who you're hanging around with, but it's another thing to apply it. And
mm,
the reason why I broke the book down into 3 sections, the reason why I have strategies sessions at the end is for application.
mm,
Um, and part 1, explore and discover, that helps people identify their interests. For me, I was so tired of people saying follow your passion, do what you're passionate about, brother. And
yeah,
like, what happens if you don't have a passion?
that's
What
right.
happens if you have multiple passions? Where
That's
do you start? You're stuck. And for the most part, I felt disheartened because there was times where people saying follow your passion, clue in on your passion and go for it. And I just felt like that doesn't do anything for me
right.
because I don't know where to start.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
I had, no passion at that time. Passion isn't something you start with, it's something that you develop over
That's right.
time.
That's
And
right.
so where you need to start is your curiosity. And this is what I've
Mm,
discovered for myself. Um, what are you naturally curious about? Where do you find yourself most interested in?
mm,
This is the place you need to start.
mm,
And for me, I felt like it was my soapbox. I felt like if I can help people identify their greatest interests and
Mhm.
follow it, they can find success in whatever they do, because that's where passion will be developed. That's where they will find most engagement. That's where they will find most interest in doing. And yeah, so that was what part one is about, you know, and then and it's about identifying your greatest interest, and then identifying your greatest skills. And once you identify that, part two is to use that, to cultivate it, to help it grow, to monetize those skills, right? To disrupt the marketplace,
Mhm.
and and have it grow, you know. And so um, and that was part two, and then part three is just having that sustainable, you know, strategy to
Mhm.
constantly grow. And you know, I finish off with helping people identify their career and calling,
Mhm.
and just simple things, you know, simple things. But I had strategy sessions at the end of each chapter, because I felt like it was important for the reader to really take time to reflect on what they just read, to digest what they just read,
Mhm.
and practical steps on how they can apply it easily.
Mhm. Mm.
That was something that was really important for me writing this book.
No, that's good. That's really good. Now, are these parts that are these, you know, like systematic, like chronological, or can people float around with these, or do you recommend they go through this kind of same sequence? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for me, I think that, you know, you could take it, you could take any part and start wherever you feel like would be best for you. You know,
Mhm.
for me, sometimes I jump around during books. You know, I don't start in the beginning sometimes. Um, but how I wrote the chapter is that you got to understand, like, I didn't know how to read in high school. I learned how to read like when I was 18 years old,
Wow.
and or 17 years old, you know. And from that moment forward, like, I read over 500 books, 600 books,
Wow.
um, and up to date, probably even more. But for me, writing a book, I just wanted each word to have meaning. I wanted each word to, you know, grab the reader. You
Mhm.
know, you know, there's no greater crime than a boring, you know, speech, you know, a boring sermon, you know, or a
Right.
boring book. And so for me, I wanted each chapter to pack a punch, each line, each sentence. And so literally you can jump anywhere into the book and get something. That's what I really wanted for the reader. Because if I wasn't grabbed, if I wasn't gripped, I knew the reader wasn't going to be either. So that's how I
Yeah.
wrote it. And I really believe you can jump rope anywhere within the book and find something.
No doubt. Now let's talk about once again my favorite part, which is part two, cultivate and execute. You know, you talk a lot about in there you have different sections about disruptors, about serving others, unlocking your creativity. Um, and then this one that really stood out to me that was fascinating, and I wonder if you can kind of explain it here. This is the topic of recreating to recreate, recreate to recreate. Can you explain what that
Oh,
means and what that looks like?
so how I wrote it, I wanted the reader to understand it's important. In order to recreate, you got to recreate. So I believe that, you know, you have to recreate in order
Mm,
to recreate. You have to
okay.
take time out. You know, you have to um, learn how to, you know, use your skill, use your gifting, but then also learn to unplug and recreate. Get some time for yourself, refuel, and do something outside of your industry. And oftentimes you find that that's one of the greatest bursts of inspiration. It's the greatest burst of recreation is, you know, in getting inspired from your recreation time. So that's
Okay.
kind of like the purpose of me writing that.
No doubt. That's powerful, man, because I think what a lot of people don't realize is we spend a lot of time in creating, but there's, you know, part of that creating is the inspiration that comes from, you know, recreating, right? Like it's
Hmm.
a whole, you know, and I was, forgive me, I was reading that wrong wasn't recreate
No,
to
no, you're
recreate.
good. You're good.
But that's kind of how I was seeing that, was like, because you had it spelled differently, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, but I just think it's really, really valuable. It's another way of looking at the creative process that may be undervalued by people who spend a lot of time just creating. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
there's other ways to doing that. Now, you also talk about avoiding perfectionism, man. And this one is key. This one is so key, because I think as a creative, you're just naturally born with massive amounts of perfectionistic
Right.
tendencies. And you said something here. I want to read this to the viewers. You said, when you put something out into the world, you get wiser and better with every experience. And then you go on to say that excellence is the opposite of perfectionism. And I just thought, wow, like, just mind blown. Like, excellence is the opposite of perfectionism. Can you talk a little bit about that? Can you explain that?
Definitely. I think and I believe that perfectionism is the enemy of profit.
Mm,
If you're waiting to have the perfect brand, if you're waiting to have the perfect product, you're
mm,
waiting too long. We see, even in the day and age that we live in, apps come out all the time and they're great. However, they could always be improved. That's why you get system updates. That's why you get updates within your apps, is because they are improving their user experience. And I believe that excellence is the exact opposite of
mm,
perfectionism. Excellence is doing the best at what you have, doing the best with what you have uh, at the given time that you're doing it, and releasing it into the world. That's what excellence is doing the best with what you have and what you do at that time. And there's no regrets when you give it your all. I think the regret comes in when you still have something left in the tank and you're like, man, I could have did so much
mm.
better. But if you give everything you have with what you everything you got with what you have, and you release a product, you release a brand, um, you will always find yourself the need to improve. You always find more ideas along the way,
Mm.
but you're not going to be held back with that insecure thought of, man, it should have been better. It's just like writing the book, Follow Your Curiosity. I could have waited um, more years to become more familiar with the topic. But for me, I understood that I have to do the best of what I could do right now, and get it out into the world. And it's been able to help so many people.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's kind of stay on that a little bit, because I think, like, I think a lot of people, I mean, I know I myself wrestle with this idea of perfectionism. And I think that a lot of times what's at the bottom of it is, I think there's a couple of things, but I think one major idea is the fear of rejection, the fear of being wrong, right? The fear of looking stupid. Like, there's always somebody that's going to be better, more talented, more articulate. There's always going to be somebody that can do what you're doing better, right?
Mhm.
And I think that that's what hinders a lot of us from, that's that perfectionism, is we want to make sure that we're coming across in the best possible light. And my advice to people is, first of all, a lot of times people just don't relate to that, right? Like,
Right.
so even if you are super polished and don't make any mistakes, like, your connection is probably going to suffer, because people don't relate to that. But what would be your thoughts to somebody who, they like the idea of excellence over perfectionism, but they're still really worried about, like, man, like, I don't want to come across stupid, I don't want to, what would you say to those people?
Yeah, I would just encourage people that find themselves struggling with either releasing content or struggling to perform a task without that voice within their head saying that they're not good enough, or people are not going to listen. I want to encourage, what narrative are you listening to? Because more often than not, those are not your thoughts. These are thoughts
Mm,
that have been impressed upon you by people that may have spoken negatively about you growing up. And I believe that sometimes we hear narratives from people that have disapproved or people that have been critical, and we tend to re-record or excuse me, rewind and play back uh,
Yeah.
those people's narratives, right? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to say real quick, did anything change within my audio? Because I
No,
don't
you're
know
good.
if my ear
No,
pods went out or not.
you're
Okay, cool.
good.
So, yeah. So, what narrative are you listening to? And if you find yourself repeatedly hearing a narrative that is disapproving or critical, it's time to change the narrative.
No doubt. No doubt. Now, what is your thoughts? You know, you got follow your curiosity. This is kind of a loaded question because you talk a little bit about it, but what
Okay.
is your thoughts on where that curiosity comes from? Like, is that a God thing? Like, does God place curiosity and does he want us to go and follow it? Is that how it works? Or
Right. I believe everybody's naturally curious. I think that's what happens when you're born. A baby is naturally, interested in everything. Not only they have to touch, they have to see, they have to taste, you know, and that's how they learn. And so for me, I believe that everybody has this natural curiosity within them, and everybody's since everybody's different, that curiosity is going to be different for everybody, and it's what you're curious in. And when you begin to explore, when you begin to discover, it does something to your level of engagement. It does something to the level of your energy. You begin to love what you do. You begin to find passion. You begin to discover a feeling that you want to wake up and do what you do every morning. And so for me, I believe that everybody's naturally curious, and if you're not, it's time to shake off you know um, it's time to shake off disparity, the empathy, and really do um, what you feel called to follow.
Mhm. No, that's
I,
great.
I, and I think also too, a lot of people are living like quiet desperation. They're living in quiet desperation, meaning like they are living day to day, trying to survive. They're stuck in
Mm.
this place where they're just trying to live, you know, and they're stuck from paycheck to paycheck, and they don't have that excitement in their life. And for me, I believe that um, it really is important for you to take a step back and really reimagine the possibilities for your life. I think that it's a big hoax for people to believe work until you're 60, then retire when you're
Mm.
65, and then,
Come on.
you know, travel the world, do what you love. Like that to me is like a great hoax, because man, uh, a lot of people don't make it till 60. Unfortunately, with their energy, they don't make it to 60 with their strength. You know, um, and I believe that now is the time to really reimagine the lifestyle you'd like to live and work backwards to getting
Mm.
to that place. And
Mm.
it doesn't necessarily mean big house, big car, because that means a big, huge, debt, so to speak. It means really tapping into what makes you come alive and then working your way to get to that place.
Mm. No, that's good. I think right there, that was I need to get one of those little sound effects machines because I'd have done a little like drop a bomb on that, like you know. That's next. That's
Yeah.
coming up soon. But no,
Okay.
that was a bomb right there, bro. That was definitely a key that if whoever's listening, if you could pick that up to really quit trying to work towards the goal, work from the goal backwards. Like,
Definitely.
because what's gonna happen is that goal is gonna keep on changing and changing and changing. And that's where we see people that have made it to the top and they're just completely unhappy with their life and they lost everything in the course of it. And of course, you really didn't gain anything. You just lost in that scenario. So that is
Right.
some major game right there.
Right. Well, because for me, I believe that, success is a definition that we must create for ourselves.
That's right.
Success can't be a definition that you take from somebody else. It doesn't look like people on TV. Success is what you determine it to be. And for me, success is peace. Whatever gives me peace and true rest is real success. It's it's family, it's laughter, it's
Yeah.
things that money really can't buy.
Yeah.
Obviously money does help, and I believe that that's something that I write within my book. But I really believe that we are challenged to create the definition of success for ourselves. And if you're stuck in a 9 to 5, or if you're stuck in a place where you really find yourself, wanting to get out, it's not a smart idea just to quit and try to do what love or curious about. Because I've heard so many entrepreneurs and you know inspirational gurus be like, quit your job, just quit and just go for it. I'm like, really? That's not a smart plan, especially when you have a family, or especially when you have
Yeah.
responsibilities. You have to develop an escape plan. And it looks like 6 months of income. It looks like, staying up, putting in extra hours after, your job, or, after the family sleeping. It is something that of that path that you really have to begin to explore. So it's really taking calculated risk and not just foolish ones, that's really going to be successful and help you reach a place of success for yourself.
No doubt. So if you guys are just tuning in, we are talking with Amazon best-selling author Joe Poni, entrepreneur, filmmaker, and you definitely are going to want to go pick up this book. Follow your curiosity. If you've been listening so far and been getting some value out of this, make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, share the video with somebody that you think would benefit from it. I mean, that's the hugest thing. I'll throw the link up here. Boom. You can go to Amazon and you can pick up a copy. You see that little tag right there? Bestseller. Boom. It's the uncharted path to your success. And man, there's a lot of gold nuggets in this book, a lot of keys, especially for the creative mind, which I've always said, our society isn't really set up to incentivize the creatives as much as I would have liked. A lot of times growing up in school, my creative abilities kind of got me in trouble more than they got me promoted or excelled. People were trying to constantly make you conform to what is normal. And really, we just are curious and creative people. And we're a little different than maybe some other people. But you definitely want to pick up this book. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. And what I'm going to do is, so writing a book is a big deal. Like, I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into that. And I know for myself, man, I have a dream of wanting to write a book one day. And I even have some titles set aside and some little
Nice.
chapters. But just the idea of writing a book, first of all, like, probably not the best writer. I don't have the college education. You said it yourself, like you didn't even know how to read until 17. So obviously there's a way to it, but it can seem very big to a lot of people. Like, man, how am I ever going to write a book? Like, can you give us some tips or some strategies, or just help us kind of bring that down to size and give us a strategy if we wanted to write a book, how we would go about doing it?
Right. I just encourage people just to write.
Okay.
Start writing as much as you can. And when you begin to write, when you develop a goal, a daily goal, a daily word count goal on how many words you need to put on that page or on that um, Microsoft Word program. When you set that daily word count goal and commit to it, I really believe that you can become an author, because to become an author is similar to childbirth, is what I hear. Maybe not that extreme, but it's similar to the idea. It's you have this you know you have this idea birthing within you, and you have to nourish it, you have to give it attention. And when you publish that thing, you have to take care of that baby. And so for me, my first words of wisdom is just to start writing. There's editors you can hire. There's people that you can hire that will help you
Where do they
articulate.
find where do they find those editors?
So yeah, I mean, I help authors all the time. I help coach authors, and we're getting ready here in the next couple of weeks to launch our course. But I
Dope.
really believe there's different steps that you have to take in order to really birth a book. You have to brainstorm, you have to write, then you have to self edit. After you self edit, you have to send it to an editor. You can find an editor on Upwork. That's a freelancing website filled with many editors and formatters and people that do this type of stuff within this industry.
Mhm.
You can find editors on Fiverr. It's just being able to see somebody on the internet, finding them, and then also reviewing their work and seeing how you can be able to work with them. And I think for me, it was important that I kept my voice. And so I looked for an editor that would help me keep my voice. And so after you find an editor, you find a proofreader, and then you get your book formatted. And that's the real key to getting your book ready to get launched.
What
And
does that
so,
what does that mean? What does that mean? Finding your voice and
or
within
keeping your
writing.
voice.
Yeah. How do you keeping your voice, and how does somebody even find it? Right. Like, yeah, of course to keep it, but in the first place, how do they even find it?
Right. So for me, I think it's not a metaphoric um, statement more than it is a literal statement. Like I really wanted to write, the way that I wanted to write my book is I wanted people to hear me. I mean, read just like they were listening to me. So when I wrote, after I self edit,
Mhm.
there's a process. You want to, obviously see if there's anything that you've missed, um, and then also speak out. What you've wrote, and hear the words that are coming, off the pages. When I found after my self edit phase, I really found an editor that will not only edit, would help me with grammar and things of that sort, but would help not switch around my sentences,
Mm.
and for many parts, I mean, I have, I don't know, over 49 reviews on Amazon now. And several reviews, were saying like, man, it was just like I was talking to him, And so I think that was what was most important for me, is that it came off as a conversation, and that my voice didn't get taken, and it wasn't the spirit of what I was delivering. It was more robotic. So for me, keeping your voice was important, and that's what I did.
So do we have an audiobook coming?
You know what? That's something that people have asked. I think that it is definitely a desire of mine. Just other things have popped up before then. But yeah, I definitely believe that I got to. It's the day of digital, technology is you got to have an audio book. So
Yeah.
not a lot of people are able to spend some time, reading a book. So I definitely down the road, I want to get an audio book out, but it should be very soon after some things get taken care of within my quarters of this
No,
year.
no doubt. Now, can you go ahead and talk to me a little bit about your course? What is it? Who is it for? Where can people find more information about it, when it's launching, things like that?
Yeah, so I'm beginning a writer's course for people that want to self-publish, and it's going to be something that will help people get the desire within their heart out on a book. I mean, if I can
Mhm.
write a book, anybody can write a book. I've took courses on how to write a book, how to publish, and none of them were satisfying to me. I spent
Mhm.
um, money, I spent countless hours, doing research, and I felt that, nobody really gave me the answer and help that I needed. And so on this other side of, publishing my book and learning and making mistakes and learning along the way, um, people need to have someone that can help them in every step of the way, And for me, um, that was the desire of creating this course. Like that was the desire of wanting to help people write and publish and market their book.
Mhm.
Um, because if I could do it, anybody can do it. And it should be something that is going to be, it's in the developmental process right now, so it's something that should be coming out within a couple of weeks.
Wow.
And yeah, we're excited as a team, and we'll see.
Well, I definitely plan on picking up that course because, like I told you, I have a desire to write some books, and I definitely need some structure. I need some guidance. I need some direction on this. So that sounds like it's going to be
I got
amazing.
you, bro.
Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be amazing. And as a side hustle, man, hopefully you have an affiliate program, and I could push that out and make a couple chips selling it. You know what I mean? But man, but
Yeah, definitely.
it's amazing. It's amazing to see what you're doing, bro. It's amazing to see your heart. If somebody just wants to follow up with you, shoot you some questions, find out more about what you're doing or your course or when it's launching, can you give us just some ways that people can follow you and get in contact with you?
Yeah, definitely. You can follow me on IG. I'm always on Instagram. It's funny that I've been able to scale my business so high from just interactions on Instagram. And so that's a platform that I use. You can private message me, DM me, and I would love to answer any questions you got and collaborate in any way that I can. And yeah, you can follow me at Joe Poni.
Nice. So, man, it is, once again, it was a huge honor to have you on. Thank you so much for just taking the time and making
Thank you,
some time
bro.
for this, bro. I know that, that people are going to get some tremendous value out of it. And if nothing else, just be exposed to the lane that you're kind of creating right now, the lane that you're in, and the people that you're serving. There's such a big, it's just such a big, not just market, but just a big people group, man. A lot of believers that want
Definitely.
to get into this. And so I know it's only going to grow and grow and grow and do more things. So I'm excited about that. And I'm excited to have you on, bro. You are, once again, the first Amazon best-selling author that I've had on my channel, man. So
Thank
I'm
you, my brother.
honored, and I'm honored just to be a brother, man, just to be a friend. And, from the times that we catch up and share experience and life, man, it's just, you're such an amazing guy. And just, I'm blessed to know you and be in fellowship with you, bro. So, in
Man,
closing,
hey, the feeling is neutral. It's mutual. And I just want to let you know, bro, that I admire you. And man, we're going to chop it up after this. And yeah, dude, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure,
absolutely.
my brother.
Is there anything that you didn't get to or that I didn't ask you that you wanted to just, anything else that we left on the table?
No, no. I mean, I'm good. Maybe, if something else pops up, man, we could do part two, but
Yeah.
I think we're good.
And that's what I was going to close on. There's definitely going to be a part two because there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I didn't even ask you about. I just wanted to focus on the book. Make sure you guys go pick that book up on Amazon. Seriously, man. If nothing else, you can support this brother in everything that he's doing. It's literally a couple of cups of coffee, 2 cups of coffee, and you could support the mission that he's on and the impact that he's making in schools and entrepreneurs and just in the kingdom, man. Support other kingdom people, man. This is, and I guarantee you in doing so, you are going to get some great value out of it that is going to help you with where you're at. So make sure you support this brother. Head over to Amazon, click that buy now button, and make sure you buy that book and shoot them some thoughts. One of the things that we
Yeah, definitely.
as entrepreneurs always enjoy is like to hear feedback, market feedback, right? Like, what stood out to you? What chapter did you like? Why did you like it? Like, go read the book and send this man some messages on what stood out to you. This helps him to create more content, to do more stuff, and really just provide a greater level of service to everybody. So that's my little marketing side rant. But we're going to go ahead and close this thing up, man. Thank you guys all so much for joining us on this live interview here with special guest Joe Poni. Amazing guy. Make sure you tap into all of the social medias. Make sure you like and subscribe to Kingdom Creative. We're going to be dropping tons and tons of more content to be able to help you in your creative entrepreneur and content creation business. And until next time, you guys, of course, be blessed.